I go to MMA Junkie. Mike Boehm just posted unconfirmed rumor that he believes to be true. Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker coming up San Diego later this year. That's great, and it's great for a number of reasons. First off, I had big question on what is Poirier going to do. Poirier was riding a high of highs, and like anything in life, what goes up must come down. When he lost to Khabib, his last couple of fights were for world championships, guaranteed main events. This is guaranteed to not be a world championship. Likely still a main event. But the point is, things are going to go down. And when you're Poirier, you got to ask yourself, how far can I accept? How far can I go down this very mountain that I just climbed before I stop, turn around, and start coming up it again? Tough spot. Many people have been in it, but that was Poirier's spot. That's just where he was at. And I was curious what that answer was going to be. But Poirier got called out. I mean, Poirier's like any other animal. If you insult him the right way, he's going to answer. He got called out by Hooker. Hooker, who has done absolutely nothing wrong in 18 months. Hooker has not fought wrong, competed wrong, cut weight wrong, trained wrong, or done media wrong. Hooker is as close to perfect for understanding the entertainment era that we are living in right now with the world of MMA, manipulating it and operating amongst it. If you are a young fighter, you want to know what to do with your career, you need to study Dan Hooker. He gets it, and he is taking it, and he's being himself, by the way. So many people will go into pro wrestling, and they'll go, I want to be like The Rock. Instead of looking at it, I don't want to be the next Rock. I want to be the first me. That's a very real thing, because you're going to have certain skills and tools. If you can't raise your eyebrow, wear a Versace shirt with a Rolex watch, get a crowd to their feet, sing sometimes, play a guitar sometimes, and go star in A-level action movies at other times, you simply can't be The Rock. That's okay. People will go into Hollywood all the time, and they'll tell a director, I can play a 5'9" woman or a 9'5" male, whatever you need me to do. No, there's some things that just simply aren't going to be true. But if we find where your skills are, we can go and exemplify them. Dan Hooker has never ripped anybody off. He didn't start showing up on stage wearing sunglasses and a bow tie. That was Conor's gimmick. He didn't go out and start taking from anybody else. He went out and became the first him, but operating within broad strokes that he observed work for other people. So first off, great news. We know what Poirier is going to do. He's going to jump right back in the deep end. He's going to maintain his ranking or claim higher. He's going back to a feature bout. But we also have to learn something from Hooker, who twice now has steered his own career. I believe Hooker actually also called for the Ally Aquina fight. So I believe this is actually the third time, but it's the second time publicly that we've witnessed him do this. Whether it was to call out Felder face-to-face with Felder on ESPN in front of 57,000 people and then get it, or he called for a fight with Gaethje and then quickly hedged and said, but if he's not available, I'll take Poirier. He got that sentence in just in time. Now Poirier has to respond. Then the decision makers have to take a look at that because that fight makes sense. They're in the same weight class. They're very close in the rankings. They're both main event fighters. One of them got called out. One of them answered a call out. I mean, it's just something that you just simply can't stiff arm and look away from. I think it's an interesting fight. Before we get into the X's and O's of the fight, I think we just need to study how this fight got set up. This was not some random war room meeting amongst the offices at the UFC where Maynard and Shelby and Dana all sit down and start to figure things out. This one got wrapped up in a nice little bow, set on their lap, they opened it up, said, thank you for the gift, we like it. There's a way to do that. There's a reason to call someone out, but there's also a reason to call somebody out that is a fight that you can get. You can't only call for championships fights. You can't only call for main event fights. Who, what, when, why, and where. It has to make a level of sense. Sense is a word that Dana himself uses proficiently. That should be a clue. That should be a big clue to young fighters. Why does the boss keep using the word sense? Well, this has to make sense. He uses that word a lot. So when you present him with something, present him something that falls into the category that he has already publicly identified that he looks at. Does it make sense? Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. For Poirier and Hooker to fight, sure it does. Both of these guys are world class. Both of these guys are top of the bill. Both of these guys are marquee. Both of these guys are in the same weight class. Both of these guys are similarly ranked. By the way, the title is jammed up. Khabib and Tony got to go figure that out, and we're all told that Conor's going to slide in and take on the winner should it be Khabib. Should it be Tony, that door's been a little bit left open, but it still seems to rotate between the triangle of Tony, Khabib, and Conor, right? Any which way they're going to round robin or match that thing up, it does seem that the title is held. So I understand the bravado and the courage of always calling for a championship fight. I get it. But don't miss the fact that you need to get the shots that you call for, or you look weak within the industry. You do not want to look weak. You do not want to be a guy that calls for something and doesn't have the power to then get it done. So there's a balance there. And Hooker, 3 up, 3 down, has got his way and called his own shot. He has convinced everybody else to see it his way. That's powerful. It's well done. Well done. Why take a phone call out of the blue that tells you who you're fighting on if you can have a hand in that? Then you look at Poirier. Poirier's looking to get back to title contention. He's got Dan Hooker, who's on a big roll, who's a co-main event of the largest gate in history, 57,000 live, advances himself from co-main to main, has a knockdown, drag-out war, in contention for fight of the year against Felder. Makes a lot of sense. If the boss likes things that makes sense, take him something that makes sense.